The other problem with low integrity is that it becomes difficult even for you to become successful sometimes. Sometimes it's possible to get very successful through low integrity activities like Trump has, cheating on taxes and screwing people out of business deals. That's possible. But a lot of times, in some ways, it's amazing what Trump has done is how far he's come with such low integrity. But for many people, for many ordinary people like you, it'll actually be difficult for you to even earn $1 million without some integrity, without raising your integrity. Because look, to earn $1 million realistically, you got to work pretty hard. You got to be disciplined. You got to get up and do, even if you're doing something shady and scammy, even if you're going to be a con artist, you got to work pretty hard at being the con artist. Even if you're on Wall Street, you got to work pretty hard, wake up early, put in 12-hour days, 80-hour weeks to scam your money the way that you do. But even to do that, you got to be pretty disciplined. And you got to be able to trust yourself. Like people who have such low integrity, they can't even trust their own words. For example, when you tell yourself that you're going to do something, do you do it? Or do you fail and quit the next day? Like you tell yourself you're going on a diet and then you quit. You don't have enough integrity just to even go on a diet. Most people don't. When you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to work on this project, and then you quit the next week because it gets tough. Well, that's a lack of integrity. See, you keep telling yourself you're going to do all this stuff. You're going to self-actualize. You're going to meditate. You're going to do a retreat. You're going to do some psychedelics. You're going to do some ayahuasca. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to, communicate better in your relationship. You're going to be nicer to your children. You're going to judge less. You keep telling yourself all these things, but then you go right fucking back to what you were doing. That's a lack of integrity. And the more you fail to follow up on your own values and goals and ambitions and principles, the lower your self-esteem drops. Your sense of self-efficacy, you start to feel like a victim in the world because you feel like every time you want to do something, your life experience that, well, I want to do this thing. I want to be an artist. I want to be a musician. I want to be a movie director. I want to be a video game designer. I want to have a website. I want to have a YouTube channel. I want to have kids. I want to have a marriage. I want to have great sex. I want to go do pickup. I want to learn how to flirt with girls. I want to be funny. I want to learn all these things. I want to meditate. But then you do all these things and you keep failing and failing and failing because you're not persevering enough. You're not disciplined enough. And then after you failed enough of these times, you become a victim. It's called learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. And then you really believe like life sucks and you can't really be successful and all this stuff, Leo, you're talking about, this is impossible or it's just fantasies. My life doesn't work this way. Well, that's because you've fallen into this downward cycle of negative self-efficacy to the point where you feel like you don't have much control over life anymore because you failed so many times. And part of that has to do with how you reframe failures. I failed so much. Failure is crucial. Failure is not a bad thing. Failure is the greatest thing ever. But what you have to do is you have to persevere and not get discouraged by the failure and keep going even harder after you fail. So once you start adopting sort of cheating attitude towards life, then you start to cheat everywhere. But then cheating, of course, becomes counterproductive and it boomerangs, like all selfish activity does. All selfishness boomerangs. That's karma, in other words. So paradoxically, leading a life of high honesty and high integrity, it might seem like, Leo, you're saying it's so difficult. I have to surrender the ego. Yeah, but it's only difficult if you're really attached to the ego. Actually, you could joyously sort of surrender the ego. It's still going to be difficult, but it's a good sort of challenge. It's like the challenge of, lifting weights at the gym. It's challenging, it's a little stressful, it's a little painful, but it's good for you. Whereas when you're sitting on the couch watching reruns of Lost or something, and you're eating buckets of ice cream and you're getting fatter and fatter and fatter and lazier and lazier and lazier, have you ever done that? And then you actually feel so bad, you feel worse. There's more suffering and pain from doing that than if you would have just gone to the gym. That's what it's like. Be careful trying to live life the easiest way, because usually people who are chasing life to be the easiest, they end up having life the hardest.